Streaming. Okay, does it work now? Hello? Hello, hello? Is there some sound? I see now some video. Now, hello? Hello, hello? Looks good! Okay. Perfect, perfect. And welcome back to the platformer stream that all of you missed that on Sunday because there was no stream on Sunday. Surprise, surprise. The reason was I was just way too tired. Also, I had to book some flights to America, to USA, because in September I will fly to the USA for the first time in my life. And with two very good friends. Not with the family. I got a free ticket for my wife that I can do a boys-only trip. Took me quite some time to convince her that that is the right decision to do that. But in the end, I can go. Yeah, and I will be in the United States in September. And booking those flights and the trip a little bit that I did with my two friends took too much time on Sunday, and in the evening we went for all-you-can-eat buffet eating with sushi and Chinese stuff and teriyaki, where you can get your vegetables, your meat, and then you put a clip on your plate with the sauce that you want to have, and then some master is making some barbecue action, mixing everything together, and you get back your plate with the fresh food. That was great as well, and I just enjoyed my Sunday, so that's why there was no stream. But today is another day. Today is Tuesday, and on Tuesday we are going to perform the best stream of our life, and we are working on the double jump feature. Oh yeah! I thought a little bit about it. I'm not 100% sure how we're going to solve it. I did not have the best idea. There are some things to consider when it comes to that, but I'm sure we will be able to make it. And by the way, there was a tiny little change since the last stream. I mentioned it during the end of the stream that I wanted to try out a different background graphic. Instead of the gray one, I wanted to have the green texture. But we did not implement that then on stream. I simply forgot it. But I added that now. And actually on Sunday already, or when was the last stream? Or Saturday maybe? Was Saturday the last stream? I cannot remember. And now we have this green background parallax map effect, which I think looks better than the gray one that we had before. And we will just stick to that. And it was not that difficult to implement because we just need to go to the parallax background class, and there it's not implemented in the best way, I would say, but it was simply loading another texture, this green texture, make sure that it gets disposed, and finally when we create our sprite there, I simply passed in the green texture instead of the gray one. That could be something that can be set from the outside, that you can then switch between the different backgrounds. We did not implement that. It would have been too difficult to implement it. But for now, we just stick with the green texture. That's it for now. And today we want to implement the double jump feature. And for that, we need a couple of things. We need the pineapple asset, so the graphic. So let's start with that one. So again, the pixel adventure, and there is, I don't know where it is. Is it other? No, I always go into other because that's when you don't know where you put something, then it's other, but other is really a garbage folder. I think I never need that. Shadow dust particle transition. Yeah, maybe that dust particle would be nice, so let's keep it. We need fruits that can be collected. Where would I find a fruit? Items, most likely. Items, fruits. And there is okay, there are a lot of different fruits actually. Can I zoom in on that thingy here? No, it does not seem like it. So let's open it, maybe then. So that's an apple. I don't want an apple. What is that? That is, I don't even know what that is. I don't know, looks like a snail. cherry. Cherry could be double jump. Maybe we pick the cherry. Let's see. This is, I don't know, what is that? Collected. So when you collect it, that there is also some animation. Most likely we will solve that differently than kiwi, melon, orange, pineapple. What is the pineapple? It's that one. No, we will go with the cherry. Cherry, cherry lady. Da, 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 da. Listen to your heart. So let's create a new folder, the cherry. We paste the cherry. Then we will split it up. It's 544. Wow, I cannot calculate that. But divided by 32, 17. I think I don't need to calculate that. How was the command? It is, okay, I don't need to remember that. So we basically just need the cherries. We want to crop it by 32 by 32, and it's the idle animation. Bam! And now we have a lot of cherry graphics. We can remove the original one. We need to open up the texture packer. We need to open our project and repack the game objects. And ta-da! There is additional things in there. Wait! Because last time we added something. We added the start pole and also the flag. Okay. Then let's prepare that as well. What do we need here? I forgot that. So checkpoint. What was that graphic here? This is, I think, when you touch it, then it goes to the right, goes back and opens up the flag. So that would be a cool animation. And that one is then, I assume, a waving flag when it's then opened up. And that one is when it has nothing. So that would be idle. Then this one is, let's go to that folder. So then we are in our flag folder. And there we now want to split the checkpoint flag idle. Okay. That would be, actually that would be the idle animation. Let's take that one as, I don't know, let's call it stand. We implement the flag anyway later on, but we can prepare the graphics already that we have that available. Oh, that was wrong. Damn it. That was completely wrong. That was the wrong size. I need the details and I need to remove every idle animation for now. Bye-bye. Then this graphic is 64 by 64. So of course we need to adjust it. We crop by 64 by 64. And now we create the idle animation. And the second one is the run. How's it called? Flag out. And that one we will call, I don't know, run for now. Doesn't matter. Good, then we have that one as well. Then we can again delete the original graphics. And the last one would be the start flag. And there I want to remove the right part here. I'm not interested in that one. So we will open up GIMP and fix that. I am just interested in that little piece here. So I'm going to select it like this. And then I can say, how did that work? Cut to selection. That's not enough. Now, there was one pixel to the right missing. Now again, cut to the selection. That one looks now good. And now let's export it. to raw object start, and this one we call it idle. And that's it. Let's remove it. And now let's repack everything. Okay, so now we have a lot of single textures. Maybe it would be better if we make here really a grid. I'm not sure if that makes a difference, but I could imagine that when an animation goes through the different frames, maybe it's slightly more efficient if the frames are next to each other, that it does not need to jump so much. I'm not sure. Anyway, we will keep it like that. Good. So graphics are ready. Now we need an additional game object that we call cherry. And finally, in our editor, we need to add here another graphic to it, which is the first frame of the idle animation. In here, graphics, object, and that one here is the cherry. That's the one for the editor, so we can edit now. And now we have it here available. It is, of course, an entity. The body type is kinematic, I would say, maybe even static. Not sure. Let's keep it with kinematic. Yeah, let's keep it with kinematic. It does no damage. It has no special text. The game object is, we need to update that here. There we need a new one, which is now the cherry as well. So we can now select it. Then gravity scale. It's not affected by gravity, so let's say 0. It has no aggro. It has animation. Yes, it has one. It has a track. No, the initial state is the normal idle state. Maybe it does not even have a state. I don't know if it needs a state. Let's remove the state. I don't think it needs that. No jump height, no life, no speed, and no time to max speed. Okay, and now finally let's place it here under decoration, maybe foreground. Objects, foreground objects. Yeah, let's place it under foreground objects so it's always in front of the player, even when it gets collected. And let's put it here somewhere. Maybe here. And here again, to try out that we can then jump from here with the next jump here and so on, so that there could be a chain effect of double jumps. Okay, I would say let's try that out if we see a cherry now in our game. No, because no collision shape. Yeah, because we did not define yet how it would collide. So let's make here detect the bounding box and yeah, make it a little bit smaller like that. And this one here is now a fixture definition. It is a chain, and in my opinion, it can also be a sensor because we don't need to collide with it. We just need to react when we are colliding with it. So let's make it a sensor for now as well. Okay, now we see some cherries bouncing around and we can jump through them. I just saw that. Looks goody good. Okay, then part 1 is done. The next thing is that we need to react when we are colliding with these things. So we need to go to our begin contact method and here add some logic. So currently we have player entity map collision stuff. and damage collision, acro sensor collision, and now I would say is collectible collision maybe. So something that we can collect. Then we pass in entity A, entity B, fixture A and fixture B for now, and then we would say handle collectible begin contact. And there we pass in entity A and entity B. Let's see if we need to refactor that. So let's first of all create the functions that we are going to implement. Then this one returns a Boolean. And now let's also put them to the correct places just to have the order in place in that file. So here's all this handle stuff, and here is the is stuff. Okay, so is collection will be here, and the handle thingy will be here. Okay. So when is a collectible collision happening? I would say when entity A has the entity tag player and entity B has entity tag collectible, I would say. So let's create a new entity tag here. Collectible, too many C's. And let's simply set this tag now in our possible entity tags in the editor as well, that we can set that. There's actually also additional tags, but we don't need to set them in tiled, I guess. But here we want to set now that this one is collectible. Okay. So that would mean entity A is a player and entity B is a collectible. Then, and also that one we also need to make sure fixture A is the hitbox. Otherwise we have again this multiple collectible detection, and we don't want that. And the fixture B, we don't need that because a collectible just has one fixture for now. So that's already good enough for our case, and we can remove that here. Then the handle thingy we are going to implement in a moment. Let's not forget the other way around with entity B first, and then here we will pass entity B and here entity A. Okay, and what do we do when the player now collides with the cherry? Somehow we need to say that first of all, we need to remove the cherry, maybe with a nice effect, but for now we can simply remove the entity. And other than that, what else do we need? The player then needs the possibility to jump again. And here I'm not 100% sure how we want to solve that. So we have a jumping system. There we could set this buffer. And we have here a condition. So if entity is already jumping or falling, then do not jump. So everything that comes here below, so from here to here, that would be related to a normal jump. Maybe we just want to have a special condition up here, which would be the... Wait, do we set the buffer to 0? Yes, so when a jump is happening, we set it to 0. Yeah, but anyway, we could maybe have here something. The buffer is... Should we even do it with the buffer? I'm not sure. What is the keyboard input processor doing? So when we press space, we simply add the buffer time. Okay, so even if we are in mid-air, we would add this buffer time. So the buffer time gets set when I press space for the double jump again. And maybe it should be something really simple. Yeah, maybe really here a special condition like, I don't know, if double jump, that could be a Boolean on the jump component, then perform the double jump. Just do that here and return. So there will be no checking if we are on the ground. There will be no checking if we are already jumping or falling. We will just apply the jump force like we do it here. Play the jump sound. And we also need to play. We have a separate animation for the double jump. Play that one as well. Yeah, that might be the easiest solution. And easy is always usually one of the best solutions. If it's complex, it's usually not a good solution. So I would say we try this approach. So we know that this is the player and this is the collectible entity. So what do we want to do? We want to get from our player the jump component and there set something. So we have the maximum height, lower feet, upper feet, the buffer time, and maybe at the end mid-air jump or air jump, I don't know, which is a Boolean and it does not need to be set. It's always false, but in that specific case, we say air jump equals to true. And the collectible entity, we will just remove its words, or I think it's just collectible, remove. Yeah. Okay, so that one needs to be improved, of course, but let's try that out if that is working. Yeah, let's start with that one. So the cherry should get removed when we are now in contact with it. Yes, it gets removed. So this seems to work. Then let's implement this air jump thingy. So buffer is 0 means we don't want to jump. Then the buffer is 0 when the jump is happening and we did not press space again. So basically I would say here if that is called air jump. So if air jump is true, so we collected a cherry, collected root to do an air jump or mid-air jump actually, and jump button was pressed. That means the buffer is greater 0 at that point, and that simply means we need to do all of that again. And that one we can maybe extract and call that apply jump velocity, something like that. What do we get here? We pass in the jump component, we pass in the body and the maximum height. Which is coming from the component actually, so we would not need to specify that. But maybe that could be interesting. Maybe the double jump should not be the same height as the initial jump. Let's do it like that, make it a little bit smaller. So here basically we apply the jump velocity, so we pass in the jump component. Why do we pass in the entire... because we reset the buffer. Yes, I remember. Then we pass in the body and the maximum height is maybe just a third of the original jump height, something like that, and then return. Good. So in theory, that should be everything that we need to do a double jump. Let's see. And it seems to work. Okay, cool stuff. Let's try it again. Okay, something is wrong because we can jump now all the time. That's because we are never resetting the air jump. So here we would need to say jump component air jump equals false, that you cannot jump again and again and again. I'm thinking now, what would happen? We collect the cherry, but we don't jump and go down to the ground. That would mean that when we do the ground jump, we would actually consume the air jump, which does not really make sense. Hmm. So we would need something like, how do we solve that? Entities already jumping or falling, do not jump. This condition can be ignored if we have the air jump. And this one here should maybe be done. This one here belongs to that condition here, right? Or we simply remove the air jump when the player gets in contact with the ground. Yeah. Can we easily do that? It's this thingy here. That one is checking if the entity is grounded. So we could extract that and check that here maybe first. I'm not sure. Maybe I need to write that down. We need this condition for the normal jump behavior. Okay, but we could also do, maybe if it gets too complicated, to include that directly in the jump physics system. We could, of course, always simply make a separate air jump component, for example, and make a separate system. But since almost everything, I think, should be the same, it's not everything, it's actually just this one here. I'm also thinking, yeah, maybe we do that in a separate system. I have now an idea that would maybe be even better, because what I actually want, or let's think that through. What was my initial idea? Maybe I don't want to react on the button press of the player. Maybe when you collect the fruit, it should simply automatically do the jumping stuff. That could be also one solution, that it's not the player who is applying the double jump, it's automatically happening when you are collecting the fruit. that would mean I simply move that up here. Because when we set the air jump flag in the physics system, then we will automatically apply the jump force. Let me see. That should now automatically trigger the jump, right? Yes. Okay. I think this is more what I had in mind initially, because I wanted to apply something immediately when you collect something. At the beginning, I had the double jump and also the dash functionality in mind. But this feels better. So air jump equals false, then apply the force immediately. And now we don't need to do anything special below, which is nice. So let me quickly try that out one more time. So now I missed it. Okay, that is way better, I would say. But what I find a little bit weird now, or not so ideal, is that you're actually collecting the cherry when you touch it at the top. So I would make this one here now a little bit smaller. Something like that. And let me see how this feels now. Yeah, so now you really need to get in contact with the cherry and then you are jumping again. Okay, cool stuff. So that one is already working, but it's not final yet. So first of all, I want to have a better effect when something gets collected. So currently we have nothing because we immediately remove the entity, which is not so good. Maybe we could use the asset that is part of the asset bag. So this collectible animation that we saw before. Maybe we could use this one. So that one that it goes away. I think we will use it because it could be interesting how we achieve that. So how can we swap from the cherry animation to this collected animation? Let's try that out. So this is also something, and that one is called collected. And this is also, I don't know, what is the size actually? I never see that. Makes me crazy. How do I see the dimension of that freaking graphic? I'm pretty sure I added that already a bazillion times. And how is it then even called? Breite? Yes, okay. Breite, Höhe. It's 32 by 32. Okay, let's also split that up. So that is the collected graphic, and we split it up 32 by 32, and that would be also the idle animation. Good stuff. Then pack it in our texture packer. Also easy going. I don't really see it, but it must be there. And then we need our animation service, but do we do it in here? Yeah, for now we do it in here. Not animation system, animation service. which we're going to inject. And in our handle collectible, we are going to say animation service. How does that work? Isn't there a function in it which is called entity animation? Yes, it is. And how is that one called? World.entity animation. Okay, so we have here world.entity animation. But I don't have that with okay, now I have it. A little bit weird, not ideal, but working. So collectible, then the animation type is idle. But that's not correct. We want to switch to a completely different animation. So currently, what is that one doing? That one reads the game object from the tiled component and loads the animation with that. But we actually want to pass the game object. Let's see, where do we currently call this method? It's just 3 times, so maybe we need to refactor it slightly. So here it makes sense that the game object is read from the entity directly. So here it's more convenient to call it like that. Here it's also maybe more convenient to call it like that. Okay, but here we need now a third option, which is the last option. Let's call that the game object. And that one would be, can I write it like that? So entity tiled. No, that does not work, of course. Nah, that does not work. So we need a separate method actually. So exactly the same one as we have it here. But this one takes the game object and it is the same as entity animation. This one now contains the logic. Wait, this one now contains all of that here, but it does not read the game object. And this one here below calls the entity animation again, but now with entity type, play mode, component type, and the last property, so the game object is from the tiled component, the game object, and everything else can be removed like that. Okay. Now with this new function, we did not break the old code. With this new function, we can now make something like this, I would hope. So animation play mode would be just normal. We just want to play it once. Then we have the animation dot, how was that called? There were two. No, that's the wrong one. Oof. I want to get to the animation component. There is the normal animation and the global animation. I just want to have that as a normal animation. Yeah. Here it imported the wrong animation. So I don't want this animation. I want the animation component. Okay, I think it fixed it itself. Okay, and finally, that would be the last argument. That would be now game object dot collectible. Or how is it called? Collected. Isn't that pretty weird that I need a game object just to play that special animation? That's weird as hell, right? Because this collected can never be placed and does not do anything at all. Nah, that's a weird approach. I don't want to go that route. That's confusing. Maybe easier would be that from collectible we get the animation component, and there we simply set a new GDX animation. Let's see. So I want to get rid of all of that stuff here. I want to get from this one here, I want to get the animation component, the normal animation, and I want to set a new GDX animation, which I hopefully get from the... Aha, that one is via game object, because we are getting here the atlas key. Okay, and the type is, for example, idle and stuff like that. But we might want to have here a separate function. That one, in my opinion, makes more sense. Here we pass in the atlas key, which is a string, and the type, which is the animation type. Now we add here all that fancy little code from above. And up here, we remove all of that stuff here and return game object atlas key and pass the type. Okay. A little bit shorter. Maybe also in just one line, also better. Okay, so now we have the flexibility to pass in here an arbitrary atlas key. And that would be now the, what's it called? Collected. And the animation type is idle. And maybe one more thing. We need to remove the physics component. Not sure, not now. Let's do that later on. So why is here everything in yellow? Because of the equal sign. It should be like that. Okay, so let me have that here. Collected animation. Good, let's try that out. That should hopefully now change the cherry animation to the collected animation. Yes. Which is good. Yeah, since we don't remove the entity, we bounce from it again and again and again. But there is, of course, an easy solution to that as well. So I would say we have then a few things. Let me see. By the way, when we remove the physics component, do we destroy the physics body? No, we don't. I guess that's actually a bug that we currently have. Let me enable the physics debugging to prove that. I guess there is a tiny little issue, but not a huge one. So what do we need to do? We want to remove this collectible entity when the animation is finished. So I think we can do something like that and add, for example, remove component. And that one takes the time, and the time would be the collected animation. Is there like a duration? Yeah, what is animation duration? The duration of the entire animation, number of frames times frame duration in seconds. Okay, that is exactly what we need. And then we simply need a component that we call remove component, which is a flex component. And it takes time. That must be set, which we are doing here, which is great. And then we simply need a system. Maybe also a separate thingy, which is a val, which is called remove physics, which is a Boolean as well. And then set it like this, so the time is equal to this one, and remove physics would be true, which means we want to remove the physics body, that there cannot be any more contacts with the cherry if we have already collected it. I hope that works, but let's see. So what we need is a remove system. That one is an iterating system, and it iterates over everything that has a remove component. And this is a rather simple system. So we get the remove component. And from the remove component, the time, we subtract the delta time. And if the time is less than 0, then we remove the entity from our world. And in addition up here, so if remove component, remove physics, and entity has physics component, then we remove the physics component from it. And ideally, to not make this check all the time, if the entity has the component, we can also then set remove physics to false. But for that, we need to make it a variable, which is also okay. Good, so that would mean if we add the remove component to an entity, if we have remove physics, then we are removing the physics component one time, and otherwise we reduce the time. And if the time is less than 0, then we remove the entity completely. Okay, that sounds logical. Then let's add this remove system maybe at the end of the frame. And let's try that out. And I think that the physics body remains. So I think we are removing the entity and we should not see any more graphics rendered. But I think the physics body remains. Let's see. Yeah. So it seems like the remove system is working. But as you can see, the physics body remains, which is not so good. And the reason is that we do not clean up properly. So what we need to do is here, we need to add remove listener. So when there's a physical component gets removed, then we actually want to access the body and destroy the body, which is body world, destroy body, and provide the body. That would be it. And I think the user data should also be set to null. I remember that in one game I had an issue that destroying the body, maybe it did not destroy it immediately. I cannot remember anymore, but I accessed then the user data, which was still an entity. And from that entity, I want to access the body again. And that one then broke the game because the body was not available anymore. I cannot remember 100% what the issue was, but to be on the safe side, I clean up the user data as well. But I think that would make more sense if we do it first, right? Before destroying the body. Because actually after that, this reference here should be broken or not existing anymore. So let's do it before. Not sure. Let's see. This should now also remove the physics body. Yes, which it does. I am not sure, but it looked like the animation is played twice. Yeah, it feels like it, that it's played one more time, so maybe here we need to reduce it by default frame duration. That would be 1/15. Or what is better and easier to solve is that up here we just set the or where do we set that? We set here the GDX animation. Can I also set here the mode? Play mode equals play mode normal. Then let's import that as well. So now, even if there is a little bit of an inconsistency, again with floating point numbers and yada, yada, yada. Okay, that did not work at all. Is it that... Wait, there is also the timer. That one needs to be reset as well, right? Let's see one more time. Yes, maybe the timer was the issue. I mean, anyway, we want to set it like this, and maybe that should be a utility function on the component itself. So I would say something like change animation. That one takes an, let's call it GDX animation. And it's basically doing this stuff here. So it changes all these properties. It resets the timer as well. And maybe there should be even a play mode property, which is per default loop. And with that little change here, we can then make here a call to change animation, which is a little bit better. Then pass in here the collected animation and that's it. We don't need anything else. Good. Yeah, so here let's comment a little bit. Trigger mid-air jump for player entity and then change collectible entity animation to collect it and remove it at the end of the animation. So try it out one more time. Looks good. And with good, I mean perfect. Yeah, really perfect. I like it. So we can remove here the physics debugging again. Tap, tap. Ah, that one I did not collect. Okay. Then let's fall down. Then we are up here. And now I cannot make this jump anymore. Or can I? Okay, cannot do that. But I think that is already a good starting point. So we have support game object spawning from tiled. Yes, we have that. Contact listener in physics system. Yes, we have that as well. It's not a pineapple. It's a cherry that we are collecting. But that looks good. What we don't have yet. And there we need to change something a little bit. I want to have a double jump animation. And here I'm thinking now, since we have the possibility to override the animation from the state. So normally we have the state machine where when we are idle, we play the idle animation. When we are jumping, we play the jump animation. When we are falling, we play the fall animation. And here I'm thinking now, should I set the double jump animation as a global animation? What would that mean? How did we handle the global animation? So we have, if there is a global animation, we play it. And when it's done, we remove the global animation. So I think that might be actually a quite simple solution then in the end. So what we need would be, now we really need this animation service so that we can call entity animation. Then we pass in the player. We say that the animation type is the double jump. Do we even have that graphic for the double jump? And how is it really called? Frog. Double jump. Okay, we called it double jump. Yeah, so that should be good. Then we want the play mode to be normal. And we want the animation.global animation. That's it. By the way, I think we don't need this method anymore, right? It's just called here below. That was an idea that we tried out before, but I can revert that. That's no longer needed. So we had all of that. And we wanted this one here. And that one we can remove, right? So that service is cleaned up again. And now we already set the global animation. Yeah, let's maybe import that as well like that. And we set the double jump animation. Let's see if that is working also. What I could imagine, it's not here. We might want to call our new method, which is change animation. Because we also need to reset the timer, which we forgot before. So now this new utility function comes in handy. And let's see, that should hopefully already play the double jump animation. And it does! Haha! Okay, you maybe could not see it because there is this map name transition at the beginning. So let's wait for that to be removed. And now, ladies and gentlemen, wow, I'm amazed. Let's move it down here, that one here, that one here, and then that one here, so that we have a little bit of a path that we want to jump along. Let's see if that one works as well. Nah, I missed it. One more time. Whoa. Nice, that looks great. Okay, I'm really happy with that. So all the tricky things that I thought could happen were actually not so difficult, to be honest. So we trigger an air jump, that was quite easy. Then we play this global animation for the double jump, which was also not so difficult. We simply reused something. Then for the fruit, we change it to a specific animation. I don't need to call that here because I'm in the context of an animation service. That one here is maybe not so great. It's a hard-coded string. If that ever changes, we are screwed. But we would need like maybe a separate enumeration for possible animation strings. We initially bound that to the game object. So basically what is here, those are the available default animations, let's say, that we can pick from. But I did not want to make the collected a game object because that sounds really weird. It's just an animation that we want to play and nothing that we place in the tiled editor or do some interaction with. So that's why we set here the Atlas key. I think that's acceptable here. Good, and that's it. That's really nice. So let's quickly go through the different changes again before we commit everything. So we had here a utility function on the component where we reset the timer, change the animation and the play mode. Okay. Then we had here a code change, but that one I don't want to change. So that should be the initial code that does not need to be changed. Then here we call now the change animation function, the new one, which resets the timer to 0, which is better. Then we had another GDX animation function now, which takes the string that we are not limited to the game object animations. And that's it here as well. Then we had an additional entity tag that we can tag an entity that it can be collected. Okay. Then under game object, we added the cherry. Yes, that also makes sense. Then on the game screen, we added the remove system. Then a gazillion of graphics. Then on the jump component, we added this additional flag that an air jump should be performed. It's more like force jump because the jump gets enforced. Would be maybe a better name, but yeah, whatever. Then here we had this adjustment. So if this flag is set, then we are simply apply the jump force, but not with the maximum height from before. It's a little bit less. And we reset the flag that we don't jump again and again and again. Okay. Then physics component. Yeah, there we actually completely forgot that we need to clean up the bodies. So that would have been a problem before as well. So whenever we removed an entity, the physics body would remain. So that's why We need here the cleanup logic, which is now available. That's good. Then the physics system. There we added now the animation service, which, yeah, from an architectural point of view, I don't like it that much, because a physics system should not be responsible for changing animations and things like that. Here was a line break. I don't like that. Keep the original formatting. So collectible collision. I'm thinking now, can we make that a little bit better? So maybe we fire here a game event, which is like player item collected or whatever. Then first of all, the jump system could react to that to trigger the air jump for the player. The animation system could react to that to update the animations properly. And the remove system could react to that. Yeah, not so easy. Because it needs the duration of the animation, which it might not be able to get. Let me think. Yeah, but that logic, I think we will remove it or extract it to other systems. That should not be part of the physics system. I don't like that. That's not a good architecture. So let's refactor that. Then the remove component. That one is okay. Then the remove system, which was also an easy system. And then a lot of graphics again. Okay, so let's quickly refactor that a little bit, because that's not nice. Let's use here our game dispatcher and fire a player item collect event. And there we pass in the player and the collectible. Then let's create this event. Okay, I don't know how I can create it directly in that file. So let's make it like this. So data class. And there we have the player and we have the collectible entity. And it's a game event. So now this one here compiles. And now let me think. So this part here should be part of the jump system, in my opinion. That makes sense. So jump physics system. Is this one already a game event listener? It is not. Then it is a game event listener now. And below here, it's reacting on a game event. And if the event is a game, how did we call it? Player item collectible event, then we do something. And what do? We do what we had before in the physics system. So this little line here is now event.player, and from the jump component, we set the air jump. We actually don't need that. We can completely get rid of it and apply everything here. Yeah. So here we just have the jump component. Then we get the event player physics and get the body out of it. And here we read it like that. Okay. And also we could play a sound effect. That one we apply jump velocity. Okay, that one is already playing the sound. So we don't need that. So here we have now the jumping part done and can be removed from that system. And also I would say now let's move this stuff here maybe to the animation system. Or do we set that here directly? Let's move that. I think we moved that to the animation system. This one here also needs to be a game event listener. And also here, so if the event is the player item collect event, then we have here with animation service. We don't have here the animation service. Let's get it in the system, which makes sense. And that one here is event.player. So from the player, we play the double jump animation and also from the... So that one can be removed as well. And finally, from the collected thingy, we also change the animation like that and we remove it. So all of that stuff is now gone from the physics system, which also means it does not need access to the animation service anymore. Almost there and back in the animation system. So here, let's make it like that. Change player animation to double jump. And down here we have the event.collectible and also here event.collectible. And that's it. So now the logic is where it should be, or at least it's better than before. I did not like it that everything was in the physics system. Let's see if we broke anything. We did not. Ta-da! Huh? Why? What the hell? Why was I able to jump off the screen? What happened now? Wait. Is the okay? Seems like I'm getting pushed out of the map for whatever reason. Because it most likely because it tries to resolve the collision between the player and the rocket. Or wait, is the problem that when we are jumping, we are... Yeah, we have a bug. I found another bug. Wait. Let me first of all commit everything that we have here. That is now done. That's a funny bug. Add cherry as collectible item for a double jump. Okay, let's commit all of that. And then I will explain you the bug that we have currently in the game. So in our physics system, we have the, how's that called? Not begin contact, also not end contact. I forgot the name. Something with contact even? Pre-solve, I think it's that one, exactly. So here, body collision enabled. And here we say dynamic and static body collision is enabled, but only if the linear velocity is less than some value. That was the thing that we added so that we can jump through platforms. But that is not correct for the map boundary. So the collision is enabled if the velocity is less than 3 or the body B is something. No, the fixture. Any fixture? Didn't we have a check for the map boundary? Here, map boundary bottom. We had a special one for the bottom contact, which also makes sense. Let me see. How do I know? Where did we create it? In the tiled service, I think. And there we created map boundary. Yes, spawn map boundary. And how do I know now what the things are? So I have a physics body, static one, which has 3 textures. Yes. And the body itself has no user data, which is okay. So let's set that here and let's call that map boundary, because with that tiny little change we can have here below. So dynamic and static, and it's less than something, or body B user data equals map boundary. Let's see, that should fix it. So we can still jump through platforms, so that's working. And we can no longer jump from the map through the map boundary. That's also good, and I hope we can also still detect when we collide with the bottom map boundary. Yeah, that looks good. But I can jump here. Huh? Why can I jump here again and again and again and again? Another bug. What is the bug here? Let me see. I have an idea. Okay, wait. We need some optimizations. Do we have extension functions for a fixture, for a contact, for a fixture, and here also for a fixture? Then in our jump system, we have this check if something is grounded, where we say we query everything, and if the fixture body is not equal to our own body, entity is in contact with something, jump. Why did we do it like that? I remember we wanted to jump off rockhead, so we had to consider also dynamic bodies. And I think here I need something like this. So it's not equal that one, and fixture dot body is not map boundary. So the map boundary should not be something that is detected as something that we can jump off. And for that, I would say, since we have all these extensions so far here, I would say we have here another extension, which is map boundary, which is a Boolean, and then that one simply returns map boundary. That one we can now use here. So here we can now check for the map boundary. Yeah. Map boundary, that's good. Then another one, just that it's, in my opinion, nicer to read, is not map boundary. That one is simply not is map boundary. Like that. Or maybe to reduce the call stack a little bit, we implement it like that because it's very, very trivial. So that's good. So we can check here is not a map boundary. And here we have the map boundary. And I don't like it that this line here is too long, but I still want to have it in a single line. So I will call that let's make it differently. Let's also make that an extension function that we can call body A is not jumping. Is that shorter than what we had before? I think a little bit. And then I can extract here type A. And this one here we can extract to type B. And that brings us back to one line that is not super long, which is good. So that's the last one. Body is not jumping, which is also a Boolean, but the logic here is that the linear velocity is less than 3. Okay, so let's check all of that once more. So I can jump through platforms. I cannot jump in midair. We can still perform the double jumping stuff. And we cannot jump again and again on map border, which is also now resolved. And we still detect when we are in contact with the ground. And I can jump off from the head of a rocket enemy. Okay, that one looks good. So these were some small bug fixes. Let's see. So, and okay, so we had just one issue, right? Fix issue that player can jump off map boundary fixtures. That was the only thing that we fixed, but it's an important fix. Good. Good. So now let's see. So this one here is now done. Now the main menu for sure we will not do today. That takes a little bit more time. And I also assume that there will be some problems when we switch the map, because when we are removing entities, as we have just seen, there might be issues like, for example, that the physics bodies remain or other things. Normally it's not too difficult to solve them, but they will usually happen and appear. So that will take a little bit of time, but we can do some preparation work and make here this add checkpoint flag at the end of the map. And when player touches it, play the flag animation. stop the player and go back to the main menu. The second part we will not do, but we can add this start sign and this end flag, and we somehow need to check when we are in contact with it, and then play a different animation. For that one, we had already prepared some groundwork before, so it should not be super difficult to solve it. But first of all, let's add additional game objects. So the next one would be the start flag, and the other one would be end flag. But how is it really called? We called it flag and start. Okay, then let's call it... I don't like that. Let's rename that one to end flag. And that one here to start flag. I like that more. Then pack it again, that it has the correct keys. Now we can have here a start flag and an end flag. That should work. And in tiled, we add it again as objects. Here I need the graphics again. So the start flag. Let me open up two windows next to each other. So under assets, graphics, objects, we have the start flag. And under end flag, let's use maybe the idle animation here, the first frame. That's the end flag. Maybe end flag should be finish flag would be the better term for it. Not start and end, but whatever. So we have a start flag and we have an end flag. End flag is really a stupid name. Let's rename it to finish flag. And let's also fix it in here. Finish flag. Then let's pack it again. Okay. And let's rename it here as well. Finish flag. And let's remove this one here. How can I actually remove something? Just a minus button. Okay, that's easy. Finish flag. Good. So both of these are, of course, game objects. But before we do that, we already know there is a game object enum. Let's add here the start flag. And the other one was the finish flag. With that, we can set here that this is an entity definition. It actually does not, this one does not need a physics component at all. That's interesting. Do we even support that? When we spawn entities, what do? We go through all the cells. And here we always create a physics body. Okay, so this is currently hard-coded. We always spawn a physics body. Then, yeah, for simplicity reason, I don't want to change this logic anymore. So let's just keep it. Let's make that a kinematic body. It's nothing that can be collected. The game object here is start flag. It has no gravity scale. It has no animation, no state, no nothing. Okay, then we just add a fixture to it, but that can be simply a sensor. And we don't need to react to it at all. Then we have the finish flag. That one here is more important. So here we set the entity definition. Then this one here is a kinematic body again, most likely. Then it's maybe a collectible. then we could reuse the... Yeah, then we could reuse the logic that we currently have. Yeah, let's make that a collectible. We need to adjust this couple of things, but should not be too difficult. Then the finish flag, it has also no gravity scale. It has an animation. And that's it. And also here we need then something. So how do we detect that the player is in contact with it? I would say it's simply the pole. So when he's in contact with the pole, like this, then we will change the animation that it's waving the flag and things like that. And it's also just a sensor. Okay. Good. So coming back to our test map, we need, let's try that out if that even works. It's, I would say again, foreground objects. And here we have the start pole, which we place, for example, I don't know, here. And we have the finish flag, which is, for example, here. The finish flag looks way too big, but let's keep it. That's fine. Yeah, so if we did not make anything wrong, we did something wrong, cannot invoke tiled map tile get objects because tile is null. What? How is that possible? That's impossible, I would say. So I have here something which is a fixture definition. Yeah. And also this one. Also a fixture definition. There is something which is not connected to a tile, but that's impossible. Everything is connected to a tile. Null pointer. Yeah, it's a null pointer exception, but how? What? I find that interesting. Tile ID. What is that? Parse object collision shapes. Let's debug that. I don't understand how that can actually happen. So we obviously have here the tile. This one is set. This one is set. Here it's also set, set, set. Here it's null. Tile ID 6. That would be the finish flag. And it says the finish flag is not connected to a tile. What? Why? Is that 0 based? Let me check something. Tile set. Get tile 0? No, it really starts with 1. ID 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Aha, it's then 7? Why is it 7? I could imagine because we added a tile, then we removed it and we added another one. So that one now has a different ID. I mean, okay, but I need to iterate over all the tiles which are available. Huh? How do I get them? The tile set is a tiled map tile set. Does that make a difference? So as tiled map tile sets? No, that does not make a difference. And then get tile put tile. Is that? I don't get it. There is also an iterator. Maybe I should use the iterator. Because the iterator seems to iterate over the values. And here I get it with a specific ID. Yeah, so I think we need to adjust that because the only explanation that I have is that we removed the tile before with the flag and that one got, for whatever reason, the ID 6. Then we removed it and added it again. And now this one here, although it has the ID 6, I need to internally in libgdx, it has the ID 7. It seems like. I don't know why, but that would mean that from the tile set, I get an iterator. Yeah, okay. Tile iterator. And then while tile iterator has next, tile iterator next, which is my tile. And then I add this logic here. No collision shapes defined. Okay, so I think that this hopefully solves our issue. We don't need this first Git information anymore. Let's see. Yeah, looks good. Let me see. We have here... Okay, that's a nice side effect. Since that one is a collectible, we simply collect it and it disappears. That's funny. And here we have the start flag. Looks a little bit weird. Since it's in the foreground and the player is a little bit below. Yeah, maybe I should just place it below as well. Not sure if that is possible since it's now a physics body. Let's see. Let's see if we can fix that. Otherwise, that's a minor detail. So let's move it down by, I don't know, 3 pixels. Does that work? Yes, that worked. And it can actually be, I would say, 1 pixel higher. That one looks also not nice. So let's move it up by 1. Okay. And one final test. Yeah, still there's now a black pixel here below from the player, but I think that's okay. It's a minor thing. It's good. So we have the start flag and we have the finish flag, which currently gets collected and triggers a double jump. Good. So this one here is done as well. Then add checkpoint flag at the end of the map. That one is done as well. When player touches it, play flag animation, stop player and go back to main menu. Yeah, so this one we are not going to implement today. I think it's enough, but we can continue here. But let me take some notes. So adjust the player item collectible event. So that would be my idea how to solve it right now. Adjust the player item collectible event. Add argument for collectible type. That would be, for example, cherry and finish flag. And then adjust jump system. Oh, wait, that one I wrote here. Adjust jump system. Only trigger double jump for cherry collection. And adjust animation system to current logic for cherry. Add new logic for finish flag. That actually sounds not so difficult, right? Shall we do it still today? Because I'm still not that tired. I think we can move on. For how long do I stream? 1 hour and 40 minutes? I think we are going to implement that. Let's try that out. So in our physics system, we have the collectible thingy. And currently collectible is just entity tag, which is sufficient because we know what kind of thing we are picking up because of the game object information. Aha, wait, that's easy. So we have here the collectible, and then from the collectible, from the tiled component, the game object. So that is quite simple. I don't see what this dialog is doing. So we now have the, let's call that collectible type. That one gets now passed in here to the event. Then we have our jump system. By the way, I also want to get rid of this warning here that there is duplicated stuff here and here. Yes, this is just for debugging for our test system. But let's optimize it that this warning goes away. So anyway, here we have an event and the event collectible type is equal to game object cherry. Then we do this one here. So that fixes already the problem that we perform a double jump when we get in contact with the finish flag. And the other thing is in the animation system. So there we need additional conditions. So that's why I will change everything a little bit. So invert the if condition so that it returns here. Then we can get rid of the else and go out one nesting level, which is good. And here we have now a when based on the collectible type. And when it is the cherry, then let's call that on collect cherry, for example, where we pass in the player and we pass in the collectible. That's a separate function in here. And all of that logic that we had before is now down there. With animation service. So that is here. Then we have the player and we have the collectible like that, which means also here I don't need this with at all and can just return, right? When the expression must be exhaustive. Yes, I understand. Then let's import the cherry here as well. And then we have the finish flag on collect finish flag. And there we don't do anything with the player. No, we don't do anything with the player, so we just need to pass in here the collectible. Yeah. We can call this one, by the way, cherry, and this one here is the finish flag. Not finish flash, finish flag. And other than that, we don't do anything. So we ignore anything else. That's also now good. And finally, so what we want is that here again, we are in the context of our animation service, and then we can call the entity animation for our finish flag. The animation type is now, what is it actually? Oh, I closed everything. That was not so good. We have from our object, we have the finish flag. We had the idle animation. And we had the stand animation. So actually, let me think. So this should actually be the first or initial animation. Which currently I cannot easily set. I think we always assume that idle is the first animation that gets set, right? So configure animation, has animation, then we set here idle, yes. Okay, two solutions. Either we rename here all the idle frames to something else. I think that's maybe the best one. Or the alternative would be that instead of having here a Boolean with has animation, that you set the animation type in tiles, and then we are more flexible. Then we could set, instead of the idle animation, any animation that we want initially. But I think that maybe doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's rename this one here to idle. Oh, I cannot do that. I need to rename those here first. And unfortunately, from what I know, Windows does not have a way to rename multiple files at once. Yes, that's garbage from Windows. Linux has that. And this one is maybe just a wave animation. So that's a little bit of a tedious work. I could, of course, Google a script how to rename multiple files at once in Windows, but until I have the solution, I'm already done with that work. And again, in Linux, there you can simply select multiple files, rename it, and it will rename like we have it here. So then a prefix, and then with the optional number postfix. Okay, so we have wave, we have run, and we have now here the idle animation. And what we want is actually that, let me go back to our, let me close everything. We were inside our animation system. And here I want to set now the animation type to wave. We don't have that yet. But when we collect it, is it then wave? No, it's actually, that's a tricky one. We need two separate ones. So first of all, it would be run with play mode normal. And it's the normal animation as well. Yes, we are overriding that. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Let's test that. So theoretically, we can still collect our cherries. Yes, that is working. And now when we run into... the animation is first of all wrong. Wait. We need to repack our graphics because we renamed the files. So now we have idle, run, and wave. Yes, so now it's correct. Let me go back. So all of that stuff is working, and now we already collected the flag. We can collect it again and again, but that is working as well. So initially, unfortunately I cannot remember it, but I think the idle animation was correctly shown, which is just our flag standing around. Yes. It also needs to move down by a pixel or two. So 1, 2. Yes. Okay. Restart. I want to see that everything is perfect. So let's fall down. Then so it's standing. Yes, it's standing in the ground. When we get in contact with it, it plays this animation with the flag, which is nice. Yeah, that's really cool. But we want something special. And how do we solve that? So we actually need two animations like in the queue. So first we play this animation that the flag goes out, and when that one is finished, we want to have the waving flag animation. So how could we do that? We have an animation component, and that one has a current animation, a play mode, a timer, and if it's the normal or the global animation. That is totally okay. We could either add here another property, which is like, for example, a next animation. And if that one is set and this current animation is finished, then we go to the next animation. That could be one thing. But that would mean that our animation system will get some additional logic, which currently, I think it is okay. It's a small system. It's a really small system. Then I would say let's do it like that. That seems to be the easiest solution, and I think it's okay. So what we need is What is that one doing? Let me see. This one sets the animation on the animation component, and for simplicity, it should also return the animation component. Because when we return it back here, we can do something like this. Also, I rarely use also, but we can do that here. And then we can set something like it. And then, for example, next animation equals animation type wave. We don't have that yet, but let's add it. Then we also don't have the next animation, but let's add that one as well. So that is of type animation type. So here we have a variable next animation, which is of type animation type. And that's a rare occasion where I would say, since we don't have none here, let's make it nullable. So this is null per default. And here we set it to something not null. And basically now we have the global animation that anyway always has preference. And here we could do something like that one here we will extract. Here we can now do something if animation component has next animation. Let's create a member function. That one simply returns equals to next animation is not null. So if we have a next animation and the current animation is finished, timer, then change to the next animation and replace current animation. We do that in here, then we are done, and otherwise update current animation. Hello, Copterfish. Maybe what would be even easier, because what we need here now is we want to call change animation, where we pass in, let me think that we pass in the GDX animation and also the play modes. Does a GDX animation also have a mode? Let me see. Play mode. Yes, it has one. But that might get overwritten. Is it maybe always looping the next one? Not 100% sure. Anyway, I think to solve our issue, we don't need to consider all the different cases, but what we need is actually here a GDX animation. That does not change here anything, but below here we are actually changing something. Here we need the GDX animation. And which one do we need? We need the game object, the finish flag, and we want the animation type wave. Yeah. I think that's it. And now up here, we can now set here the next animation. And that does not compile. Why? Require GDX animation, found GDX animation question mark. Aha. Then to enable the Kotlin compiler safety thingy, let's write it down like that. So what we get here is the next animation or next GDX animation is equal from our animation component, the next animation. Then we check, is that not null? And the current animation is finished. Change. Then we pass it in here. And also, we need to revert it to null here at that point. Okay, that was a little bit of coding, but I hope that gives us the effect that we want. Yeah, Copterfish, you missed the double jump feature that you have just seen. So we have the finish flag, we get in contact with it. It plays this animation and then it also plays the flag animation. That's great. Haha. Yeah, one more thing. So currently we can get in contact here again and again and again with the finish flag. So also here, I would say to keep it simple, we also can say here finish flag, configure, and then remove the physics component from it. That way we remove the physics body. And we should not be able to get in contact with it again and again. Let's see. Final thing. Oh god, it crashes. We cannot remove... Okay, I understand. The problem is, again, physics system. We are inside the physics simulation. In the step function, we are firing an event, and in that event, we are then removing the physics component, which removes the physics body. So there's a chain of events, which is not good. So that one here would need to be removed with a certain delay. What else could we do? So we are reacting to if something is collectible. Aha, wait, then we can simply remove the entity tag collectible. Then we should also not trigger the event anymore. Let's see. That should now really be the perfect solution. That double jump is sick. Yes. Wicked sick. Waving. That's great. Okay. And we cannot collect it again and again. Ta-da. Okay. Looks good. Looks really, really good. Which means play flag animation. Okay. We did all of that things here below. What we did not do yet, but do we want to add that today as well? That would be the last thing. That when the player touches it, play the flag animation. We do that, stop the player and go back to main menu. Okay, we cannot go back to the main menu, but we can hopefully easily stop the player. Let's see if we can do that. The feet look weird when they are behind the bottom of the flagpole. I commented about that 10 minutes ago. And I agree. So what I did already, the poles are a little bit below in the ground, but it looks also weird when I set it below one more pixel. What we could do, we could just add the player up one more pixel. Maybe that's better. Yeah, I think let's solve it differently. Let's move the player up instead of the flagpole down. I think that's the an easier solution. So this one here goes up 1 pixel, and I think, or does it go up 1 pixel? No, it needs to go down 1 more pixel, like that, right? Let's see, that should be the solution. Okay, then I cannot move through the platforms anymore because that was pixel perfect before. But that's also not an issue because we can simply where did that work? Terrain, then open the Terrain tile set. What is objects TMX? I don't even know anymore. Let's close it. And in here we have the collision shapes for those thingies here, and those I simply move up by 2, 3, maybe 3 pixels. 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. Okay. That should now bring those up. Now we should be able to walk through them. Yeah, okay, so I can walk now still underneath them. Now the player is correctly behind the pole. That's also now fixed. And I think the same with the finish flag, right? Yes, that looks good. Way better. You are always motivating me for perfection, Cop the Fish. And I thank you for that. I was too lazy to fix that. But it's better the way it is now. Way better. Good, so finally we don't want the player to move anymore. So what could we do? I think I simply remove the move component. Is that sufficient? So the way we could solve that, we make the move system a game event listener as well. Then we have our on event. And if the event is a player item collect event and the event collectible type is equal, let's move that in the condition up here, is equal to the flagpole or finish flag. Then we say event.player.configure and we remove the move component. Maybe that's it. Let's see. Now something crashed. Entity has no component of type move. Okay, in our keyboard processor. Yeah. Yeah, I update, of course, the move component directly. Maybe increase the friction a lot so that it doesn't stop immediately. What do you mean with that? Hello, Raoul. Moraes. That reminds me of, isn't there a StarCraft unit that is called Morales? Sergeant Morales or something like that? If you are StarCraft gamers out there, I'm not, but I played Heroes of the Storm a couple of times. You mean like that the player should slowly stop? That would actually also be a cool effect. What happens if I remove the player tag from the entity? Then this thingy here should not do anything at all. So I could say here, remove the entity tag player because he should not be controlled anymore. And in addition, from the move component, we want to set the direction to move direction none. That the player is stopping the movement. Let's see how does that look like? Okay, so now he stopped immediately and I cannot move anymore. So the behavior is okay-ish, but I agree it would be cool that he not stops immediately, that he maybe slowly decelerates. Yeah. Also, let me try it out once more. What happens when I collect the flag at the top? I think I do fall to the ground, right? Yes, I fall to the ground and I cannot collect it anymore. Also, we should maybe play a jingle as well when we collect the finish flag, but whatever. Let's make the to the polish the game. Like here, play finish jingle when finish flag is collected. So how can we maybe slowly stop the player instead of immediately? I remember there is... In box 2D there would be the, I think, velocity damping. But that does not help in our case. Because, let me check in the physics system, in the, that's the wrong one, in our physics system, in the on-tick method. If the entity has a move component, then we are setting this linear velocity immediately. Then, I have another idea. Then we simply remove here also the move component, which should not be a problem anymore because we also remove the player tag. So this disables the player input controller from activating the movement again. Okay, let's see how that one is now working. Now I would expect that we keep the velocity that we had at the end. So before we get in contact with it, yes. Then we collided with the wall. What the fuck was that? Okay. That might be good, but now we want to set this. Isn't that some damping? Linear damping. What is that? Get the linear damping of the body. What is damping? Isn't damping like slowing down something? But what is the default value? Body. Box 2D body. Joints. Body. I don't know. Active flag. Something. Island. Linear velocity. Torque. Linear damping. What is the value of linear damping? Something. I don't know. Let's try here a damping of 1. No idea what that means. Seems like he's slowing down. Yeah. Now, what happens if I have a damping of, I don't know, 100? Is it a value between 0 and 1, or can it be also a huge value? Okay, can be bigger, because now I stopped immediately. Now let's try, so 1 was a little bit too slow. Let's try 5. Yeah, that was maybe also too fast. Let's do 3. But it does the effect that I thought it will. So it slows down the body over time. Yeah. I think that's good. Maybe a little bit less, 2.5. And yes, I should spawn the player maybe somewhere at the bottom to test that in a faster way. Yeah, I think that's good. So he stops now after the flag. I cannot move anymore. I cannot jump anymore. That looks great. Now let's test it one more time when we jump on top of the flag, because for that I would also have then a solution. Okay, now since I'm not moving to the right, I stop here immediately, which is not so good. So I would simply say here, physics body linear velocity x equals to move component maximum speed. Then we have the damping, and that should slow him down. Or maybe, is it really maximum speed? Yeah, let's try maximum speed. Let's see how that looks like. And wait, before I jump here down 3,000 more times, let me bring me down to the pole immediately. Okay, like here. And let's see. That was not the effect that I expected. Why was it so slow? Okay, when I jump on the flag. Ah, it's not, I think it's like this set linear velocity. I think I'm doing it wrongly. Like this one, and oh, that's not ideal. Let's do it like that. I don't want to access the physics component all the time. Linear velocity y. I think it's like this, right? Is there also set linear damping? No. Good. Let's try that again. Yeah, that one looked now better. And yes, I know I clicked too much on resizing. So let me just walk very slowly into the flagpole. Okay, now I have this maximum speed and I slow down. That looks good. What happens if I jump on the flag? Then I also move to the right. Okay, I think that's very nice. That's good, 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 good. I like it. I like it. Let's commit that. Wow, there were so many changes, really. Wow. Let's go through the changes. We created the wave animation. Yeah, then we made it a queue mechanism so that for the flag, it plays first of all this animation that the flag pops up, and then it continues with the waving animation. That was nice. Then this function here is returning now the animation component that we can modify it later on. Then in the system here, we added this queuing part, which is correct. Yes, that looks good. Then we had an additional pick-up event, which was the finish flag. Ah, that's all of that looks good. Then we had the player item collect event where we added the collectible type. Yeah, also good. Then a lot of graphics. Then the jump system. Here we triggered this double jump only when a cherry gets collected. Yes, that was also nice. Then the loading screen. Here we had to rewrite the code entirely. So we used the tileset iterator, which seems to correctly iterate over all the tiles. the tile ID did not work out, because when we removed the tile and added one again, then the IDs were something weird and our previous method simply did not work. Iterator seems to be the way to go. Then here, the move system is a game event listener. Yeah, because when we collect a flag, we now remove the player entity tag so that the player itself cannot control the entity anymore. And we also set this linear velocity and the damping effect to slow it down. And we also remove the move component. Let's make a comment here, remove move component. Do not update linear velocity in physics system. That's the reason why we remove it here. And also, what are we doing here? Move player to the right and slow him down over time, which is the linear damping. And let's move then this comment also up one line like here. Good. Then this looks also good. Then we have the physics system where we added the collectible type to the event. And I think that's it. Yeah. So what did we do? We add logic for collecting finish flag. Okay. Let's push that as well. And with that, what are we now missing? The jingle. So that one here is done. We don't go back to the main menu, but we don't have a main menu, so we can tick that off the list. And we will add that here. Move to main menu when finish flag animation is done. For example, delay of 5 seconds or when jingle is finished playing. Okay. So I think for today, the only thing that I want to add now is this jingle. Do we have a nice sound effect for that? Or did we already add one? I cannot remember that. We currently have a herd, jump animation, and we play the tutorial sound. So we don't have a victory jingle, which is disappointing. But we had a link to a website, which hopefully can create jingle effects, but I think it cannot do that, right? It does not seem like it. What else could it be? Flip or select? No, synth. Okay, no, that's also not it. No, so we simply don't have it. Then let's go to itch.io. And do we have here some assets? We don't want to pay. We want music, most likely. Is it music? Not sure if that is part of a music. And a collection of original rhythm minigame. I don't know. Lo-fi room. Let's open up this one? Maybe there is something interesting in it. If you have a nice jingle sound, then also just let me know, then I will take it. Then Lightfall, that does not sound... maybe I can add here... Is there chiptune? Yes, I can add chiptune as well. Then let's add Rhythm Road, maybe. And I don't know this one. Let's see. Is there something that I can listen to? So actually that sound, the first one is that maybe that could be a jingle. What is it? This is 100% free to play demo features, blah, blah, blah. Free complete games from Bits and Bobs. I don't know what that is. Over 20 unique rhythm mini games. Super fun gameplay. Catchy, upbeat, original tunes. Yeah, I think we just listen to that and see if there is like a short jingle in it. It should not be super long. Just, I don't know, 5 seconds, maybe something like that. Let's see if we can find that. What the hell is that? Unity? Why is it Unity? What is this? I wanted MP3 files or whatever. Okay, this is something I don't know what. Something that I don't want anymore. Bye bye. Okay, then what about this one? Rhythm Road. Okay, way too long. Let's also just download it and let's see what kind of files there are in this little asset pack. It's again something weird. Why is there always... Am I looking at the wrong resources? Again, some Unity stuff. Maybe I'm looking for games instead of assets. Yes. Game assets. Damn it. Chiptune. I've searched for the wrong things. So 8-bit, 16-bit sound effects. That sounds now better than free loops. Maybe the game creator pack. That even sounds amazing. Let's see. Let's try game creator pack. What do we have in here? Is that, first of all, is it free? Where is the license information? Is there even a license information? Status release, category assets, asset license, Creative Commons 0 version 1. What does that mean? Can we use that? CC0, aren't you downloading full games? Yes, I'm downloading full games. I was stupid. What is Creative Commons? Creative Commons license. Is that the one where you can basically just do whatever you want with the assets? Creative give everyone from individual creators to large institutions a standardized way to grant the public permission to use their creative work under copyright law. From the reuser's perspective, the presence of a creative copyrighted work answers the question, what can I do with this work? There are 6 different license types. I don't know, but I think we have CC0. is a public dedication tool which enables creators to give up their copyright and put their work into the worldwide public domain. Okay, that is the one that we want. CC0. Then let's download it. Oh god, there is the game creator spec updated on November 17th. Graphic pack, audio pack, sound expansion. No idea. I want most likely the audio pack, the MP3s. Okay, now let's listen. Is there... Wait, they are way too long. We need Fallen in Battle? No, we want Mission Over. Not really our type of music, right? I mean, it's sort of what I'm looking for. So I like the chiptune style, but the background music that we currently have, in my opinion, does not fit whatever we have here. But to be honest, assets can be replaced at any time. So let's just take it over in here. And let's move it in our assets, audio. And here we have victory, for example, or stage clear. Let's call it like that. And now let's go back to our assets. We have here now an additional music asset somewhere here. So here we have now stage clear. The asset is called stage minus clear. And finally, let me see, physics system has access to what? Just to the physics world. Then maybe the audio service is, it is already a game event listener. That's great, because then we can simply say here is player item collect event. Can I have here an end? And event collectible type is equal to finish flag. No, the end does not work here, which is okay. Then we have here just a separate condition. And then we do a play and say music asset stage clear. And we say here loop equals to false. And I think we don't have this loop argument yet, right? Yeah, so let's add that loop, which is a Boolean, and by default it's true, because most of the time you just want to loop through the music again and again and again. But in that specific case, we don't want that. And we just need to set now this property to here. And what does it say? Could be private. Okay, then let's make it private, because we are handling that now via events. And that should be it. So now if we are collecting the flag, I don't hear it. It's not loud enough. So let me turn on the volume. Turn up the volume. Perfect. Amazing. Really amazing. But it's way too loud. Let's go back to maybe a little bit louder. Is that maybe the reason why I did not hear music in the browser at all? Maybe let me turn that up. Okay, let's commit it like that and let's see if the browser is then playing that music again. And let's also quickly commit this stuff here. And let's not forget to give this other guy some credit. Which was which guy? Was it this one? Let me go back. I cannot go back. Creator pack. No. Which one was it? I don't see it anymore. This one here. README MD. Creator pack. Yes, good. So now we are really done with that. And we now add jingle to when collecting finish flag. Okay. And with that, my friends, my little friends, I don't know how tall you are or how old you are. We have also done this one, which means we also polish the game a little bit. And next time, I would say we make... Okay, let me move that one to the bottom. That's done. Next time we will make the main menu. So my idea would be, I don't make anything super fancy, but my idea is that when we have the loading screen finished, we go to the main menu screen. There is a tutorial button at the top and a map 1 button and a map 2 button, which is disabled at the beginning. Then as a player, yeah, maybe the map 1 button is also disabled. As a player, you need to click then on the tutorial. And when you finish the tutorial, then the next button in the main menu gets active, that you can go to the map 1, but you could also replay the tutorial. And the same with map 1. When that one is finished, you can go to map 2. And that's then it. So that would be my idea. Very simple and basic main menu. And yeah, there will be then always the transition from the main menu to the map and from the map back to the main menu. So there will be some entity cleanup, some preferences that we are going to save and load so that we remember if we have finished the tutorial or the map 1 and things like that. So that's the thing that we are going to implement next time, which is either Thursday or Friday, you will see. Hello, Lerio. How are you? I'm actually very, very good today and very fine, I think is the correct term, because we achieved quite a lot. And let me see if I also solved one last thing. Let me go to the Quilly Jumper. Is the project already... No, let's wait a little bit until the GitHub action is done. Then we can try out the game in the browser once more and maybe we hear now some music, because I could imagine that the sound was maybe too silent, and we fixed that now in our game properties by simply increasing the volume. Let's see. I remember that there was some problem for me all the time with TVM when it comes to audio. But normally the music was played and it simply then just stopped at some point when I was playing another sound effect, I think. But the music, at least at the beginning, it was playing. So maybe that is now solved with the increase in volume. And yeah, Lerio, how are you? And thank you for watching. But unfortunately, the stream is over soon because I achieved what I wanted to achieve today, and actually I achieved more than I wanted to achieve today. How long does that take to build the pages? 3 minutes. Here it was only 47 seconds, but here it takes 3 minutes. Okay. Doing great. Let me give you a quick walkthrough of the game features that we currently have. Whoa, and let me bring down the music volume again. So what we did today, we added the start flag so that there is some indicator where is the beginning of the map. Then I fixed a bug so we were able to jump from the, let me show that on the other side. We were able to, that was another feature. I cannot show the bug fix so easily, I guess. Now I can show it. So we were able to jump at the edge of the map endlessly because we have a check in place where when I press the jump button, we check if there is some ground next to the feet of the player, and if yes, we are allowed to jump. And there was a problem that the map boundary, which is there, it's invisible, but that one also said that we are grounded because we are in contact with the map edge, map boundary. So we could jump endlessly, which was not so nice. Then, what else did we do? We also added the first collectible item in the game, which is the cherry. And when you collect it, you are performing a double jump automatically. So you don't need to press anything. Simply when you get in contact with it, you perform a double jump like this. By the way, let me also take note of that. We need a sound. Where do I add that? Let me add that here. Add collect sound effect when collecting a cherry. We don't have that yet. So there we also need something. Currently it's just a graphic. And yeah, finally we added the finish flag. So when you get in contact with it, then the player is moving to the right, stops. We have this animation that the flag is popping up and it's then waving all the time. Was that now correct? I didn't pay attention. No, that's correct. So the flag is popping out and then it's waving endlessly. And yeah, this jingle was now playing in the background. And when that one is done, we most likely would go back to the main menu screen that I described before. And yeah, that was it what we implemented today, which is great stuff. Now let me check it out also in the browser. Interesting. So the jingle is definitely playing. We heard that. But the normal game music is not playing. I don't know. Maybe that's related to the MP3 format with the sample size and bits and whatever you can set on an audio file. Maybe that is not compliant with the browser support. I don't know. But at least the jingle here is playing. So definitely music can be played with TVM. But for whatever reason, the background music is not played. The sound effects are played, so when I jump and when I get hurt, all of that is working. Cool stuff. Yeah, good. I would say that's it for today. Thanks for watching. We achieved quite a few things. And again, next stream... let me think. Now, let's make it Friday. So Thursday, I think I will not do anything, but Friday will be then maybe the final stream for this little project, because I think we will be able to finish all of that if there are no big problems coming up. But I think we should be able to do everything on Friday. And I will then make... When on Friday? In the afternoon. So most likely 3 or 4 in the afternoon, Central European time. So 15 or 16 o'clock Austrian time, so Central European time. Do you have a Discord server? No, I am in Discord, so I have an account there, but I don't have a server. I don't know, do you need to pay to create a server, or can anyone create a server? I don't even know. Maybe I should add one for my community and be online there to interact with you guys some more. Yeah, but on Friday, as mentioned, I think we will be able to finish everything. And I will then make one final video on the YouTube channel where I will go through the game once more, talk about certain things that we tried out, which I liked in this project, and certain things that I would maybe do differently in a new project. There's always something that can be improved in a future project, but this will be some final video with a little bit of a summary of everything that happened so far. And out of curiosity, let me check something. We had now a couple of live streams. I want to know how much time did we spend so far in total. So we had 2.25 plus 2 hours plus 2.5 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2.5. Let's reduce here a little bit. Plus 4 plus 5. So I stopped here. So next one is this one here. So plus 1 plus 4 plus 4 plus 2.5 plus 3.5 plus 2. And today is also so in total 49 hours. 49 hours. Then there was, of course, always a little bit of chit-chatting and blah, blah, blah. So let's basically round up to 50, and 50 divided by 8. So it was more than an entire week currently to work on that. Let me take note of that so that I don't forget it. So around 50 hours of implementation so far, which is around, what did I just say? Around 7.5 days. Okay. Just out of curiosity, because people usually want to know how long it took to implement certain things. And I guess with Friday, with the final stream, we end up with most likely 8 days or 8.5 days, something like that. So it took round about a week for me to implement what we currently have. So this game totally from scratch. So we had nothing from the beginning, and we had then this game, which is, I would say, a complete game because it has this menu stuff. It has all the features in it, screen transitions and so on. You can achieve something. It's of course not the perfect game, but it's something which is a complete package. And yeah, that took me then about these 8 days, which is, interesting for me. Good. That's it. Thanks for watching, and hopefully see you again on Friday. Thank you for the support. Thanks for watching, and have a nice evening. Bye-bye.